Hello students, myself Monotosh Dey, your English helpline on the go. Today I shall discuss a lesson from Flamingo which is taught in CBSE curriculum in Standard 12. The lesson under discussion today is Deep Water by William Douglas. Dear students, if you haven't subscribed to my channel so far, or if you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for notification of new videos. Before we begin, let me throw some light on the biography of the author, which will be followed by theme of the story sequence, and recapitulation. So, dear students, let's begin. William Douglas. After graduating with English and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching high school in Yakima. He then decided to pursue a legal career. He was a leading advocate of individual rights. He retired in 1975 and remained the longest serving justice in the history of the court. The story, Deep Water, is taken from his book of Man and Mountains by the writer himself. Now let's switch on to the theme of the story. The story is an autobiographical story of the author's childhood misadventure at a swimming pool. The story describes the origin of fear, its effect, and how to conquer it. The story highlights the positive aspect of how one can overcome negative emotion like fear with sheer willpower and determination. The story also throws light on the psychological aspect of how childhood fear leaves the residual fragments in our subconscious mind in the later part of our life and haunt us till we get rid of it. Now let's move on to the story sequence. The narrator recalls a horrific incident that happened to him when he was 10 or 11 years old. He decided to learn swimming at YMCA pool, which was only 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end and 9 feet deep at the other end. He got a pair of water wings and went to the pool. The author then recounts his childhood experience of fear at a beach in California with his father. The waves knocked him down and swept over him. He was frightened. The introduction to the YMCA pool revived the narrator's unpleasant memories and stirred his childhood fears. He gathered confidence and paddled with his new water wings. When he felt confident, a misadventure happened. An 18-year-old boy with a beautiful muscular body tossed him into the deep end of water. He landed in a sitting position, swallowed water, and went at once to the bottom. He planned that when his feet would hit the bottom, he would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it, and paddle to the edge of the pool. However, the 9 feet down seemed more like 90 to poor Douglas. He was totally out of breath when his feet touched the bottom. He made a great spring upwards after summoning all his strength. He imagined he would pop to the surface like a cork. He came up slowly, opened his eyes, and saw water with a dirty yellow tinge in it. He tried to yell, but no sound came out. His legs hung like deep weights. He started drowning. He had lost all his breath. His lungs ached and his head throbbed. He again jumped with all his might, but his jump went in vain. He was still underwater. The stark terror took him more tightly in its clutches. Douglas describes how fear paralyzed him. His arms and legs stopped moving. He trembled with fright. He tried to call for his mother, but nothing happened. Suddenly, Douglas found himself coming out of the water. He sucked for all and got water. Then he started going down for the third time. Then all his efforts ceased and his body went limp. A blackness took over his brain, which wiped out fear and terror. Everything went quiet and peaceful. Douglas felt as if he was wrapped in his mother's arms. Then he fell unconscious. The next thing he remembers was lying on his stomach beside the pool, vomiting. Douglas couldn't eat that night. He was weak and trembling. He shook and cried on his bed. He never went back to the pool. He feared water and avoided it whenever he could. Douglas couldn't eat that night. He was weak and trembling. He shook and cried on his bed. He never went back to the pool. He feared water and avoided it whenever he could. Whenever he went near water body, the terror that had seized him in the pool would return to haunt him. The fear paralyzed him. This handicap stayed with him as years rolled by. It ruined his fishing trips and deprived him of the joy of canoeing, boating, and swimming. He tried his best to overcome this fear, but it did not let go of him. Douglas decided to get a swimming instructor. He went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. The instructor put a belt with a rope around Douglas. This rope went through a pulley. The instructor held on to the other end of the rope. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope and Douglas went under, some of the old terror returned and froze his legs. It took him 3 months to get over his fear. The instructor taught him to put his face under water and exhale and raise his nose and inhale. Next, he taught him to move his legs. Thus, piece by piece, bit by bit, he built a swimmer out of Douglas. Douglas went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire and swam 2 miles across the lake. When Douglas was in the middle of the lake, he put his face under and saw nothing but bottomless water. The old sensation came back to haunt him, but this time Douglas was strong. He went to the warm lake, he swam to the other shore and back. He was thrilled with joy as he had conquered his fear of water. The experience had a deep meaning for him. He explains that death was peaceful, but it was the fear of death that crippled a person. Here he quotes President Roosevelt saying, "All we have to fear is fear itself," because he had experienced death and the terror that it would produce. His will to live somehow grew in intensity. Now let's move on to recapitulation part. In this story, the author tells about his fear of water and how he conquered it by determination and willpower. As a child, when he was 3 or 4 years old, he would go to beach in California with his father. Huge waves which swept over him instilled a fear in his subconscious mind. He was pushed into the pool by a boy at YMCA pool, which it describes as misadventure in the story. He learned swimming with the help of an instructor who ensured that William knew swimming well enough to be able to swim in huge lakes and waterfalls as well. Douglas went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire. The old sensation came back to haunt him, but this time Douglas was strong enough. He went to the warm lake, he swam to the other shore and back. He was thrilled with joy as he had conquered his fear of water. William Douglas realized that death is peaceful and it is the fear of death that is terrorizing. His will to live grew intensely as he had overcome his fear and started living fearlessly. This brings us to the end of the narration of the story. Dear students, hopefully you understood the theme of the story as well as the story sequence. Kindly do write your feedback in the comment section. I shall be looking forward to seeing your feedback in the comment section. Till I come back with another video, take care, stay home, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Thank you.